Hey everyone, Ajaxer here. I'm just going to show you guys what you'll be able to make at the end of this video. So if I walk forward and I hit E, we'll dash forward. If I walk left or right, and I press E, I'll dash to the right. If I hold left and press E, I'll dash to the left. If I go backwards with S and I press that, I'll dash backwards. And then we can do combinations where we'll dash diagonally, just like in Valorant. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, do all the things that help a brother out, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to jump right into some code. So let's create a C# script and call it Jett controller. This is just going to be a component that you put onto your player. And so let's just get rid of all this cruft and delete these guys. And so there's a couple variables related to dashing that we'll need to do. So one is a public bool called isDashing, and then I like to separate my public variables and my privates. So I'll make a new line, say private, what is it, float, or private int dash attempts. That's just how many times you can dash. And then private float dash start time, which is when you started dashing, like when you push the button. Okay, so I think that's the only things that we need, and then we can just delete this. Actually, we'll keep the start method. So in the update method, we're gonna create a handle dash function, so let's just call that, and then let's go and start creating that. So handle dash, there is a there's like start functionality and there's end functionality. So like data is updating when you start it and data is updating when you end it. So we'll also need a start dash or on start dash, and then we'll also need a on end dash. Okay, functions. Okay, so now we kind of have a boilerplate. So when, let's say, is trying to dash, and then in Valorant I think the key is E, and we say get key, input.get key down, because we only want it when you're only trying to dash when you tap the button and not when you're necessarily holding it down. So I'm just going to set it to E. You can set it to whatever you want. I'll say if is trying to dash and we're not actually we're not dashing, then we initiate the dash. And we also should check if if dash attempts is less than, we'll say 2, or let's say less than or equal to 2, which means we have 2 dash attempts. Actually, let me just jack this up to like 50 because I don't want the dash attempts right now. And then on start dash, we'll just call that. So that's when we start it. And then if is dashing, so we are currently dashing. And then we see if time.time minus dash start time is less than or equal to, let's say, however long we want our dash to be. Let me see how much I did. 0.4 seconds. So then we open brackets. Okay, we'll actually need a reference to our player controller. So that's already on our player. So, and this Jett controller is going on our player. So let's say player controller, and then add a reference player controller, and then in our start method we'll just say player controller dot get component player controller. Okay, and let's go back down and say when you're dashing as Jett, you dash in the direction that you're moving before the dash, so we're gonna write out that functionality. So we'll say if player controller dot movement vector, which I don't think we've made yet, no. and we'll say it's just going to be a vector3. We'll make it after this. This is a vector3.0. Then this means that the user is not inputting anything, and it's not, the user is just dashing without, so we're just going to default to forward because that's what Valorant does. So player is not giving any input, just dash forward. And so what we'll do is say character controller dot move. Oh, we'll also need a reference to the character controller. So let's come up here, character controller, and then let's do the get component inside the start function, character controller. Okay. And we come here and we say character controller dot move, and then we'll say vector or transform dot forward because it's relative to the forward of our transform. And then we'll say what is the dash speed. So I set it to 30, so 30f, and then time dot delta time. So pretty much all we're doing is it's the same as when you're moving. We're literally just increasing the movement speed for a set of period of time. And then we'll say else character controller that move, and that's really like how simple a dashing mechanic is. You're literally just increasing the movement speed. So we'll do player controller dot movement vector, which we haven't made yet, dot normalized times 30f, which is our dash speed, times time dot delta time. Okay, so let's and then else. So if the dash time has not elapsed, then we will continue moving our character at this speed, 30. Else on end dash. Let's just call on end dash because the time has elapsed. Okay. So let's first work on getting this movement vector in the player controller. So if I movement vector. So let's go to our player controller script and we say public, I'll say vector3, and then we'll say movement vector, and then we'll say vector3.0. We'll just initialize it, and we will go to where we handle movement. Okay, and we will set our movement vector. So right here we define a vector3 movement vector. Let's just delete that vector3 and set it to what we have. Okay, so now we have this, and then let's fill out our on start dash and on end dash. So on start dash, what we do is we say is dashing is equal to true, dash start time is equal to time dot time, dash attempts is plus equal to 1. Okay, and there's other things that we'll do, but for now this is what we have. So is on end dash, we'll say is dashing equals to false, and then we'll say dash start time is equal to 0, and then that's it for now. Okay, so if we go into Unity, is it this one? No, it's that one. Okay. And we attach the script we just made to our player, and we come here and hit play. So I see this, and what is this telling me? This is saying there is no player controller. What? Oh, whoops. This is, I need to, so player controller equals player or get component, character controller equals get component. Okay, that was the problem. All right, and if we hit play, we can see So I'll look at this thing and then we'll press E. Oh my gosh, I just fell off the anyways, it works. Yeah. Okay. So let's work on the air particles, the like dash air particles now. Alright, so what I did was on our player, I created a game object that's called the dash particles container. Create another empty object, and we'll just name this forward dash particles. Okay. And we'll add component, and we'll just do a particle system. And then also, let me just make sure you guys can see the entire. Okay, there we go. Hopefully, okay. And so here are the values I used to make these particles. I did 0.20 for the duration, 0.2 for the start lifetime, 50 for the start speed, 0 start color, simulation speed, and then random seed. I used this. Where the heck is the auto random seed? No, don't auto random seed. We want it to be consistent every single time, and I'll put some text up on the screen for the random seed. So just uncheck auto random seed and then put this number in, and then emission. Let's go to emission, and I did rate over time 50. Okay, shape. We'll do rectangle is what I did. Rectangle. Okay. Wow, that is a seizure warning, bro. Hold on, let me just disable this real quick so it doesn't look crazy. Okay. And then I went to trails. So trails. Actually go to renderer, and then turn this render mode to none. And then trail material, let's select, you can select anything. I think I selected like some random sprite that was like white, but you know, we can just select any trail material for now. And we'll check on trails and then say particles 1 1, minimum vertex 0. Width over trail, I did 0.05. And then shadow bias 0.5. Yeah, that's good. And then if I activate this again, and then I go to this scene, can it? Yeah, so you can see that we have something. So that's pretty cool. I'm just using a random like spark particle, I guess. Here you could use, let's see if we can use this. Yeah, just use the default particle material and it'll look great. So, okay, so there's, let me do that. There's our forward wind particles, and what we'll do is we'll actually set this so that I'll do rotate it by 180 on the X, and then I put it forward up on the Y 0.75, and then I put it forward at 2.14. And so okay, so now this is, I guess, our forward dash particles. This actually looks a little wonky. Let me see. So alright, so I actually just changed the Y to 0. Okay, and then let's go into our main camera and then just turn the near down, and I just did 0.01 on the clipping plane. And what we'll see is we'll see a cool forward dash. One last thing is go to our forward dash particles and then uncheck looping. Okay, so now that we have that, if we hit play, it'll play our dash particle, and that's what we'll see when we're going forward. Now let's use the same dash particle, but all we'll need to do is just rotate it so that it looks like the direction that we're going. So I'll do Control D, Control D, Control D on our forward dash particle. We'll name this one backward dash particles. we'll name this one right dash particles, and we'll name this one left dash particles. All right, so backward dash particles, all we need to do is on the X do 0 on the X rotation, and then on the Z, instead of 2.14, we'll do negative 0.1. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it looks like we're going backwards. Okay, right dash particles, the values are on rotation X is 0 now. On the position X, we'll do negative 1. And then on the Z, we'll do 1.38. And that looks weird. Oh yes, on the Y, we'll do 90. Okay, so there's our right dash particles. And then our left dash particles, very similar to our it's pretty much exactly the same as our right dash particles. So let's do transform and then copy component, paste component. The only difference is paste component as values. The only difference is instead of 90, it'll be negative 90. Okay, so now we have this, which we cannot see. Why can't I see it? And also the X will be 1. All right, so now we have all those dash particles. Let us go back into the our script, our Jett controller script, and let's get references to these particle systems. So we'll do serialize field particle system, and then we'll say front or forward dash particle system. Okay, and then serialize field particle system, backward dash particle system, and then we'll say serialize field. Let me just copy and paste this and then change it so I don't have to keep typing it out, and say left, and then we'll do another one and say right. Okay, now let's make a function called play dash particles. Okay, and then we'll say vector3 input vector, excuse me, say player controller dot input vector, which we have not made yet. So let's go back to our player controller, and instead of, let's go here, we're under our movement vector, let's just do public vector3 input vector equals vector3 dot 0, and let's see, handle movement. In handle movement, what we'll do is we'll have, instead of doing this float vertical input, float horizontal input, we can just do input vector dot z for vertical, and then input vector dot x for horizontal, and then we'll just do input vector dot, what did I do? Vertical input vector dot z, input vector dot x. Okay, and so we'll also say if yes, okay, I think that should be fine, right? Input dot get access. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now that we have that, we go back to our Jett controller, play dash, and we'll say it's just gonna be if statements. So if input vector dot z is less than or greater than 0, and mathf dot absolute input vector dot x is less than or equal to input vector dot z, forward, and these will be our forward and forward diagonals. So if you're holding down W and A at the same time, you'll go forward but in a diagonal. If you're just holding W, then you'll go forward. So it's like if the input is greater on the forward direction, then the forward diagonal will kind of win out against the horizontal dash. So we'll just do forward dash particle system dot play. Okay, now we'll do similar logic but for backwards and then left and right. So we'll do input vector dot z is less than 0, and so we're moving backwards, and input vector dot x is less than or equal to math f dot absolute input vector dot x the same, oh whoops, sorry, input vector dot z, and okay, and then we'll say backward and backward diagonals. Diagonals. Did I spell the first one wrong? Diagonals. Okay. And then for left and right, we just need to check if we are moving or inputting left or right. So input vector. Oh, also, after each of these if blocks, just do a return function, because we don't want to override our decisions. So backward dash particle system dot play, we'll say return input vector dot x is less than 0, return, and then we'll say right dash particle system dot play, and then if input vector dot x is less than 0, left dash particle system dot play, and then we can just return right there. And then if for some reason we get to this state, we'll just default to forward dash particle system dot play. Okay. All right, so when we start the dash is when we actually play the particle system, right? Let me see. Oops. Yeah, so on the start we say play dash particles. Okay, now if we go back into Unity, and remember we have the serialized fields on our Jett controller, so we just drag the forward dash particle system in, we drag the backward dash particle system in, we drag the right and the left, and then we hit play, and hopefully everything magically works. So we have our forward, we have our left and right, and for some reason the backward is not working. So let's see, backward should be like that, right? Say backward. Oh, because this needs to be at the f dot absolute. Okay. Oops. Okay. So it needs to be absolute because this would actually be negative, and we want it to, yeah, it'd be negative. So this would default to this forward dash particle system. So let's go back into Unity. And then we hit back. Okay, cool. And then we can try the diagonals. Yeah, cool. So we don't have any animations. We're not hiding the gun, but the most important parts are built. We have the particles, which look pretty good. And we also have the dash, like actual mechanic with the, we are increasing our movement speed. And you can see kind of my guy in the scene, like dashing. Cool. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. Don't forget to like the button. Don't forget to leave the comment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and next video we'll be working on Jett's smoke mechanic. We'll be throwing smokes. You can control it with your mouse and stuff like that. So I hope you guys look forward to that, and thanks so much. Ajax are out.